don't you either turn around and face the camera or go elsewhere. Hey everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. And Dr. Louise Miller and I thought we'd sit here and talk to you a little bit about grief today. Dr. Miller is a specialist in grief, so we just thought we would give you a little tidbit of information about that. We've got Clay here with us to keep us company while we're talking to you. So, how are you doing today?
I'm well, thanks. How
Good.
are you? Hi, everybody.
Doing well, doing well.
Good.
So, what are we going to talk about today?
I think we should talk about grief and the different types of grief. That a lot of people just assume grief is one type and it just has to do with death.
Right.
And there's different types of grief.
There is.
And it doesn't always involve death.
Yeah, there's different
Loss
types
of
of grief. There's betrayal grief. There's definitely, the loss of someone to death. There's loss of relationships. There's loss of pets. There's all kinds of reasons for us to grieve.
Yes.
Yeah.
Divorce is another type
Absolutely.
of grief.
Right.
Loss of homes through, either, tornadoes, hurricanes, floods,
Yep.
losing your home.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different types of
Had
loss.
a lot of that this year too around the country.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Fires. Yeah. There's a lot of
Mhm.
different types of loss. So,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. It's not always about a death.
Right. Exactly.
So there's different types of grief. There's the sudden loss of something.
Mm-hmm.
That can be in an accident, a person through, car accident, murder, or whatever. Something sudden happens. There can be anticipated grief where
Yeah.
also losing a job is a loss.
Absolutely.
You can have sudden you're fired,
Mhm.
or it can be anticipated that I'm going to be laid off in a couple of months. So
Right.
it could be anticipated grief. It can come with somebody with cancer is an anticipated.
Yeah, and I think all of those really they attack our integrity, as human beings. They make us feel unsafe,
Yes,
because suddenly something happened that we didn't expect,
exactly.
and it completely changes our world, and sometimes just turns everything upside down for us.
Exactly. Yeah. Perfect example is what just happened in New Orleans a few days ago or last week.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it doesn't just affect the people who passed on or injured, it's everybody that saw it too.
Right.
Or, could be grieving and
Yeah.
suffering from it.
Yeah, well, and even on a wider scale, then we have a nation that's grieving as well,
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
And so, there's sudden grief, there's the anticipated grief, anticipatory grief, and then there's the disenfranchised grief, which
Mhm.
is, often when a pet dies, people go, oh, well, you can just go out and get another cat, or just go. It's disenfranchised. People don't take it seriously when you lose something. It's like, oh, well, it was just a house, or oh, it was just your furniture.
Mhm.
That's what they call disenfranchised grief, where
Right.
people don't validate what you're actually feeling, your loss.
Exactly. Yeah, and those things are huge.
Yes.
Any loss.
Any loss
is
at all.
huge. And it's going to affect us all in different ways. And however we grieve certainly is valid and fair. There is no right way or one way.
Absolutely not.
But the grief itself is absolutely 100% valid, you guys. It really is. Yeah.
It is, and it can come in waves, It can hit you when you're not expecting it. You can suddenly have this wave of grief hit over you. It's not necessarily just comes at the holidays or somebody's birthday or, the year you lost your house or whatever. It can come out of nowhere. So there's an up and down that comes in waves, and there's no time limit on it either.
Right.
And it does affect everybody differently and how we grieve. So we should not be judging anybody at all over their loss.
Yep. Yeah, and I think you were going to say something about divorce as well.
Yes, divorce is definitely a type of loss, and you can grieve. You grieve the relationship that you had, the life that you thought you were going to have with that person. It comes in a lot of different forms. So grief, divorce is definitely a type of grief.
Well, yeah, and every single person in the family feels that grief, and they're feeling different griefs, different types, and in different ways. I mean, if you have children, in that divorce, then you have the loss of the family, the integrity of the family.
Right.
Everything's now out of balance. You have the loss of the relationship. You have the children who have now lost one parent or another or both, and definitely that what we call the parental subsystem, that executive subsystem in the family, right? And so all the safety just goes out the window.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
the future, as you thought it was
Yeah.
going to happen, you're
Yeah.
grieving the loss of what it could have been or what it should have been or what you'd hoped it'd be.
Right.
So that's another, yes, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody can, yeah.
So what are some of the things that people can do if they're feeling grief? What can they do to heal and to find some semblance of normalcy in their life again?
I think the best thing to do is not to keep it inside, not to use maladaptive coping skills like drinking or doing something self-harming.
Right.
Talk to somebody about it. Go see a therapist. Talk to a friend. Get it out. Tell
Yeah.
people how you're feeling.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And sometimes I tell some of my clients, if it's like the loss of a loved one or something, to make some sort of what's the word I'm looking
Like
for?
a memory.
Yeah, some sort of memory. Do something. I had one person one time who actually had the skill, so he constructed a bench out
Yes.
of wood, and carved his best friend's name in it and his baseball number,
Mhm.
And I've had other people put tattoos on their body,
Yes.
I've had people do, kind of altars at home or whatever that's special to them,
Yeah.
so.
Or create a memory book, an
Absolutely.
album, that you can look at.
And that's really good for kids,
Yes.
really good for kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I had a bench done once for a friend of mine who was a golfer.
Yeah.
And I had a bench made, for her and had a plaque made and put it on one of the holes at the golf course where she played all
Yeah.
the time. So yeah,
That's cool.
it's great
That's
to
really
remember
cool.
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things you can do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think the most important thing really is to approach it like that. Not run away from it, not try to shove it down inside and, make people think you're okay. Like, no.
Self-medicate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
That's
don't
the worst
self-medicate.
thing you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
no,
sure.
You have to feel it, guys. You have to acknowledge it, not judge it, just be okay with it, however that comes and however often it comes. And you know what? Even if it's 20 years later and it comes, that's normal and it's okay. Don't judge it. Just move through it.
Yes.
Yeah, and get support as much as you can.
Absolutely. And one thing to remember is that alcohol is a depressant. So if you're already depressed and you're feeling sad over the loss of whatever it may be, alcohol is the worst thing you can do because alcohol is a depressant.
Yeah.
So please remember that. Do not self-medicate. Don't use maladaptive coping skills to deal with any type of grief.
Right.
Talk to somebody. Talk to a friend. Talk to a therapist. Get it out.
Yeah.
Let people know how you're feeling. Do not keep it inside. Do not press it down because you know what? Eventually it's going to surface back up and it could end up like a volcano coming right out of nowhere.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, any other thoughts about grief or?
I think that covers it.
Yeah.
If anybody has any questions or
Okay.
anything, please reach out to us and
Yeah,
let
and
us know.
leave a comment,
Yes.
guys. Obviously, please subscribe. But we really would love to have your comments, and we will respond to your comments to the best of our ability. And if you need some guidance in that, or some sort of referral or resources or something, we'll certainly do our best to try to point you in the right direction. So,
Absolutely.
all right. Well, thanks so much for joining me here, Dr. Miller.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. My pleasure. And you guys out there, be safe and have a wonderful and beautiful day. Take care.
Take care. Be safe.
Yep.